Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at three different models here in terms of this potential, pretty large, winter weather event that's going to be going on across the nation. We're going to take a look at GFS, Ecmwf, and we're going to take a look at the GDPS model. Now, if you guys do enjoy it, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Honestly, guys, you all are amazing. I really appreciate all of your support, and I love you all. So, we're going to take a look at GFS first. This is your global forecasting system. We're going to take a look at the overall view as well as the snow accumulation further down the line from each model. I want to go ahead and say this. These are each one model. You can't take one model in particular 100% accurately because you kind of need to blend all these models together. You need to figure out what is the differences and what is the similarities. The differences between the models are likely outcasts in which you need to throw those away. The similarities is what you need to pay attention to, in which we're going to go in a pretty, in-depth detail here with all of these models that's going to be happening here. So, all right, let's go ahead and get on into it. So we are running the GFS model. This is your 18Z. This is your pretty much your, last model of the day in terms of the GFS. So further down the line, let's go ahead and pay attention here to the West Coast. So we're going to go further down the line. This is for tomorrow. Boom, there you go. You start to see all this precipitation falling in, pretty much across the western parts of the country. We do have, blue indicating snowfall on the upper elevations. And we do have all this green representing rainfall that's falling at those lower elevations with the warmer temperatures. That's really not favorable for snow. So, we will have this moisture regardless start to fall in the western part of the country. This is for the 9th. This is only pretty much one day away. I mean, you got to think, it's the 7th right now. But the day is almost over. It's already 6:20 p.m. as I'm talking right now. So the day is pretty much over. This is for the 9th. This is pretty much, early morning at the 9th. So we're going to have all of this precipitation start to fall across the West Coast. Now, we need to continue paying attention to this because this is going to be a big factor in this upcoming winter weather event. So all this moisture is generally going to be moving itself to the northeast, in which we're going to see occur right now. So we're going to go further down the line. See all this moisture kind of stay in place here. Here's where the driver comes in. This is where your engine for the whole system is going to start. We have this area of low pressure that develops, right around the western parts of Oklahoma into the, panhandle of Texas. This low is expected to track to the northeast and meet up with all of that moisture that has injected itself into the country. You can see, kind of a weaker low here in pretty much southern bits of Canada here, kind of holding onto that moisture. However, we're going to get a stronger low that's going to develop here. You got to note, this is actually pretty close to the Gulf. The Gulf is going to play a huge role in this event as well. So, further down the line, the system is generally going to be tracking its way to the northeast. And here's where you see that snow really start to come in play. So, at this point, you can see the precipitation line has brought itself relatively further south. This is because we're getting a lot of advection going on. This is a lot of your moisture that's coming into the United States. It's being pulled up from this area of low pressure because areas of low pressure, they spin counterclockwise. So you can imagine it kind of like this. So that, it's kind of pulling, all this air up. This is actually bringing all that warm, tropical moisture into these states. And then you also get the, the downward motion. This is actually bringing in cold temperatures from up north. So not only are we going to have the potential for, winter weather, we're going to have a driver for some cold, cold temperatures as well. Because this is basically, spinning around the atmosphere, dragging the cold air behind it, and bringing all that warm moisture in front of it to feed the area of low pressure. Now, at this point, we have a relatively decent, area of low pressure. We do have some snow falling across bits of northern Minnesota, and it's going to wrap itself. Now, you can see further down the line, indicated in these blues, this is pretty much showing that cold air that's, pretty much shooting south. Now, we have our precipitation, we still have all this moisture that's, kind of advancing into this system. However, you can see it's much more arced at this point because this area of low pressure gets relatively large. You can see, how spaced out these isobars, basically just showing the areas of equal pressure. But you can see how far spaced out. This is showing that this is a very, very large area of low pressure because, the area of low pressure, this is 1,012 millibars, stretches out a very large distance here, showing that this is a very, very large area of low pressure. So further down the line, you're going to see that, this gets relatively way too big. Its moisture supply is going to be cut off, and therefore the system is kind of expected to die out relatively quickly across bits of southern Canada. However, we rewind it back. You see that moisture comes into play, that low develops, then we get all that wrapping of the cooler air down here pushing its way down. So we have all this moisture that's going up here, It's basically mixing in with those cooler air, that cooler air here, and it's causing the rain to transition into snow, which is leading to overall, the precipitation to, fall across the area. So now we're going to take a look at the, this is the Ecmwf. This is your European model. We're going to take a look at the same thing here. Now we're going to take a look at snowfall totals at the end of the video. I'll even leave a time right here if you guys just want to go ahead and skip to that. You guys can, go to that time right there. So, same thing, but I'd recommend that you stay for this because there's a lot of things that you probably should know about this system. Now, same thing, this model does show all that moisture you can see here on the western side for the same day. This is the 9th. All this moisture coming into the side of the, the country. Boom, there you go. We have this area of low pressure that develops around the same area as GFS was showing. Now, this system is also showing that it's going to generally be moving to the northeast. So you got to think of that. Okay, well, what does these models say? So GFS says that precipitation is going to move its way to the west coast. We can say that for both of them. Check those off. We have this low that develops over pretty much western Oklahoma into the panhandle of Texas. Both of them say that is going to happen. Check that off. So there you go. There's your similarities between the two models. They're starting to agree. And this is a thing. This is showing that this is a potentially verifying event, showing that this is likely going to happen down the line. I've been seeing this model, all these models, pretty much saying this is going to happen for the last several days. Over a week, I've been seeing this, potential storm. So now, further down the line, we have, all that moisture being moved up north from the Gulf of Mexico. All that cool air that's driving itself down. And it's going to wrap up. Now, this model in particular, as you might see, shows a lot of that snow falling a lot more south into pretty much northern Nebraska here. And we got all of our heaviest snow. This is basically where all that snow is going to be, at. But with our heaviest snow kind of being into the, pretty much that Minnesota to the, southern Canada region. But yeah, the whole entire snowfield is going to be stretching, a relatively large distance, as this is a pretty strong area of low pressure, and it's very, very large in size too. Once that moisture supply kind of gets cut off here, that system is going to kind of die out, as you can see. And further down the line, it's relatively expected to die out. So that was your European model. Now, let's go and check one more model. This is your GDPS model. This is your Canadian model. Wait for it to load here. It takes a second. But there you go. This is your Canadian model. Now, we're going to go ahead and play this a little bit through time. Okay, there we go. Same thing. For the 9th, all of this moisture that's coming into the western side of the United States, all three of these models, GFS, Ecmwf, GDPS, all three of them saying that moisture is going to be moving into the western states on the 9th. So all three of those, check them off. That's a definite. That's going to happen 100%. I literally can tell you it's going to happen 100%. So that's going to happen. Now further down the line, boom, there you go. Same thing. That low develops right here over northern, the panhandle of Texas into western Oklahoma. Okay, all three models show all that moisture moving in, and all three models show that low developing right there in that same exact region. Now, further down the line, same thing's occurring. We get all of this moisture being injected up north. We got this, low starting to wrap in. We got those cooler temperatures driving behind it. Guys, this is basically showing verification at the moment. We see GFS, Ecmwf, and GDPS show all of these models are basically showing a very, very similar thing. Now, here's where they're different. So further down the line, this model in particular shows a lot more snowfall falling across pretty much southern Canada. This is where we're in their differences. So all of them show this low forming. All of them show this precipitation occurring. This system is going to exist further down the line. I can say it 100%. This system is going to exist. Okay? We're going to get all this advection going up from the Gulf. We're going to get all this cold air being brought down from the area of low pressure. This thing is going to exist. Now, what we don't know is exactly, there's kind of a lot of disagreement here. Mostly the Ecmwf and GFS were kind of mostly agreeant on it, occurring pretty much in mostly Minnesota being the strongest. This model has a different story. This model kind of shows a lot of the heaviest snow pretty much occurring in just Canada. It doesn't really show much, falling across Minnesota here. So there's honestly a lot of differences occurring with this system. So all of them say that there's going to be a low. All of them say there's going to be moisture in. And all of them say there's going to be snowfall across, this majority of the area. So we just need to continue monitoring this. I'm going to post another update on this tomorrow So you guys should stay tuned for this, because this could be a potential, pretty large winter weather event, which you guys really need to be paying attention to. So, all right, now we're moving on to the fun part that everyone would probably like the most. We're going to take a look here at the snowfall totals. Now, before we do, I want to go ahead and say, do not get your hopes up, okay? These models, this is one model we're taking a look at. We're going to take a look at all of them, but this is one model in particular for each run. So, if you see something you might like in terms of a lot of snowfall or not much snowfall, don't get your hopes up, because we don't know. We've seen that disagreement between those two models. I mean, two of them were showing a lot of those heaviest snowfall falling across pretty much the Minnesota and North Dakota area. And then we saw GDPS showing all of that snow falling pretty much under southern Canada here. So, here's where we need to pay attention. So, we're going to go ahead and take a look here at the total precipitation. We'll take a look at winter weather. We'll take a look at total accumulated snowfall. This is your 10-to-1 ratio for if anyone wants to know. Okay, here we go. So we're going to see some snow accumulate, pretty much across bits of the western country. This is that precipitation that's moving into the region. For those upper elevations, we're going to see some snowfall. We need to be paying attention up here. Okay, here we go. Here's the system. It develops. There you go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop it there. So this model in particular, this is your GFS model. It's showing highlights at the maximum peak here, as high as about 30 inches or so. That's a lot of snow. But like I said, don't take this 100% seriously. This is honestly going to change, okay? I can tell you, this is going to change. So, overall, expected through pretty much northern Minnesota, we're looking around, maybe up to a foot possible of snow across northern, central, and northern Minnesota. Maybe northeastern, bits of, North Dakota here, we could see anywhere from maybe 4 to 8 inches. And of course, the rest of the state, maybe 1 to 3. That's probably what I'm expecting. Across pretty much bits of southern Minnesota as well. 1 to 3 in northeastern South Dakota. I'd say 1 to 3. According to this model alone. That's not my official forecast, which I'll actually get into that. I might actually do a forecast for tomorrow in terms of what I expect in terms of snowfall. That's if we have better agreement. If we don't, obviously, I'm not going to take my chances and do that video. But I will do a forecast on this, the snowstorm before it happens. I can promise you that. So, that's what we're dealing with there. So, let's go and take a look here at the Ecmwf. This is your European model showing, the snowfall. So, same thing. We have the snow occur. Okay, there we go. We have a lot more snow that's falling, and we still have a lot of snow that's falling over pretty much northwestern Minnesota. Maybe anywhere from 4 to 8 inches with locally higher amounts, okay? Across northeastern North Dakota, we're kind of showing the same thing in terms of maybe 1 to 3 inches across, maybe even in some instances of 3 to 5 across, bits of the northern parts of, the Dakotas. Across South Dakota, we're showing a lot more snowfall, though, and even into pretty much northern Nebraska, bits of, northwestern Iowa with maybe a trace to an inch possible, I'd guess, across that region, according to this model alone. Now, you need to mix all these models up to kind of get your best area of what we're expecting. So, let's go ahead and do something. I kind of want to try something out, in this video. So, we're going to go back to GFS real quick. I'm actually going to show you something. This is really going to show the, the individual models and what they're saying. So, we'll highlight GFS as blue, okay? Actually, no, let's do GFS as black. So GFS will be your base model, okay? We'll have, kind of the snow roughly falling around in that area. Okay, we're going to go ahead and see this connects to the states here. I know this because I can tell a look by the landmark. Okay, so now we're going to take a look here. There we go, lines back up. Total snowfall with this system shows a much different story, as you can see. So we have our pink here. This is showing, now this is where the snow is going to fall, okay? And pretty much it's voiding out the area in this model that any snow is going to fall across there. I mean, maybe some, but not as much as GFS was showing. Now let's take a look here at the GDPS model. This is your Canadian model showing what's going to happen. So further down the line, we get all that moisture. There we go. We get all the snow that falls across bits of the, pretty much the, bits of the, northern parts of the country. This one shows significantly a lot less here in the northern parts of the country, as we did see more snow. This model in particular is showing more snow fall across pretty much southern Canada. This is the Canadian model talking. So, less snow for the northern parts of the country, maybe 3 to 5 inches max, maybe with locally higher amounts, maybe in North Dakota. However, maybe 3 to 5. for much of these regions, according to this model alone. But like I said, don't get your hopes up or your hopes down at the moment. There's still a lot to really go over in this model. But this just kind of shows you really all the differences between these two models, between all these models that's going on. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I'm sorry it was a little bit too long. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you do leave a thumbs up. It'd be greatly appreciated. We'll do another one of these updates tomorrow, as you know, this event does get closer. But anyways, guys, my name is Andrew Heischman. Just know that you guys are amazing, and I really appreciate all of your support. It's truly amazing, and I can't thank you enough. But anyways, guys, just know that you're beautiful, you are special, and that you are loved. Anyways, guys, I will see you all in the next video.